All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unravel one of the absolute most fascinating mysteries of the human mind, which is why we actually like the things we like. We're going on a bit of a psychological deep dive into the subconscious quirks of human behavior. And honestly, the groundbreaking research we're looking at today might just completely change how you view your own everyday decisions. So let's start with a really simple question. How do we really form our preferences? I want you to take a second and think about your all-time favorite brand, or your favorite song, or maybe a piece of art you just love. Got it? Now ask yourself, do you actually know why you like it? We all tend to believe our preferences are super rational, right? Like they're based on objective quality or our deep personal values. But what if the real mechanism behind your favorite things is something entirely different? Let's jump into part 1, the black bag mystery. To get to the bottom of this, we need to look at a genuinely bizarre, real-world anecdote from Oregon State University back in 1967. Take a look at this quote with me. It's from an Associated Press article from February of that year. It reads, "A mysterious student has been attending a class at Oregon State University enveloped in a big black bag. Only his bare feet show." Now, what happened next is just wild. The professor of the class, Charles Goetzinger, noted that the student's attitude changed from hostility toward the black bag to curiosity and finally to friendship. Just think about that for a second. A person in a black bag sits in a classroom. They do literally nothing. They say absolutely nothing. And yet the mere repeated presence of this bag miraculously transformed a hostile room of students into friendly peers. And this story brilliantly highlights a massive contradiction in how we conventionally think about human behavior. Look at these two classic adages we've got up here. Familiarity breeds contempt, pitted right against absence makes the heart grow fonder. We've all heard these, and both of them firmly suggest that too much exposure is a bad thing. But that black bag story, it completely overturns this logic. It suggests that familiarity doesn't breed contempt at all. It actually breeds friendship.
Which brings us to section 2, the mere exposure effect. So, psychologist Robert B. Zajonc looked at things like the black bag incident and realized there was a foundational psychological law at play here. He defined mere exposure as a condition which just makes the given stimulus accessible to the individual's perception. And that's really it. He proposed that just being repeatedly exposed to something, literally anything, as long as you can visually or physically perceive it, is enough of a condition to make you like it more. No reward, no deeper meaning, no interaction required, just exposure.
Let's move to section 3. Words reveal our preferences. Now, Zajonc didn't just want to theorize about this. He wanted massive, real-world evidence, and he found it in language. Check out this massive discrepancy in the Thorndike-Lorge word count data. The word happiness pops up 761 times, while unhappiness occurs only 49 times. It perfectly illustrates his point. Good words are used exponentially more often than bad words. In his research, he found we talk about beauty 41 times more than ugliness. Love beats hate by almost 7-to-1. The things we evaluate positively are quite literally the things we are exposed to the most frequently. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but maybe that's just a weird quirk of the English language, right? Well, actually, no. When you map this data across multiple languages, a super clear pattern emerges. Whether it's good and bad in English, bon and mauvais in French, gut and schlecht in German, or buen and mal in Spanish, the positive word is consistently used way more frequently than the negative one. The exact same goes for friend and enemy. This frequency-value correlation isn't just a cultural accident. It is a universal psychological reality. Our preference for the positive is deeply tied to how frequently we encounter it across human language. All right, section 4. What is perceptual fluency? To understand the actual neurological mechanism behind all this, we have to fast forward to a 1998 study by Reber, Winkelmann, and Schwartz. They focused on this concept called perceptual fluency. They defined it as the subjective feeling of processing ease that occurs when a stimulus is encountered, which is often misattributed to liking. So here is the absolute crucial takeaway. It's not actually about the repetition itself. It's about how easy it is for our brain to process something. Repetition just happens to make things easier to process. You know, when our brains don't have to work super hard to understand what we're looking at, it just feels good. And we mistakenly think, oh wow, I really like this object. When really, our brain just likes how easy it is to look at. Let's look at section 5, proving the fluency effect. If this theory was right, Reber and his team realized they could prove it without relying on mere repetition at all. They set up 3 completely distinct experiments to manipulate the ease of processing. We've got visual priming, figure ground contrast, and presentation duration. Let's see how manipulating that cognitive ease directly manipulates liking.
Okay, diving right into experiment 1, visual priming. Participants were shown target pictures, like a quick drawing of a horse or a plane. But right before the target, the researchers flashed a prime, either a matching outline or a completely mismatching one, for just 25 milliseconds. Guys, that is way too fast to even consciously register. But look at the results. When preceded by a matching prime, the target was recognized so much faster, 1,470 milliseconds versus 2,415 milliseconds. The brain basically got a subconscious head start. And the crazy part, those faster processed, matching prime pictures were judged as significantly prettier. Easing the cognitive processing literally made the art look better to the viewer. In experiment 2, plotting prettiness and ugliness judgments against figure ground contrast reveals something fascinating. They showed participants circles with varying levels of contrast against a background. Now, higher visual contrast means the image is clearer, which means it's computationally faster and way easier for the visual cortex to encode. And if you look at the data lines, they clearly show that as contrast goes up, participants judge the objects as significantly more pretty and significantly less ugly. They didn't change the object at all, they just made it clearer, and preference absolutely shot up.
And this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Experiment 3, presentation duration. For this one, they kept the image the exact same, but just changed how long a random pattern was shown on a screen, 100, 200, 300, or 400 milliseconds. Simply giving the brain just a tiny bit more time to extract information from a pattern makes it easier to process. And as you can see, longer exposure equaled increased liking, and it also equaled decreased disliking. There was no repetition whatsoever. Just a few extra milliseconds of processing time generated genuine affection for a completely neutral, random pattern.
Finally, section 6, the illusion of preference.
It's time to bring all this scientific evidence together. Perceptual fluency is inherently effectively positive, independent of the question's focus. So what Reber and his team ultimately proved is that this feeling of fluency isn't just some neutral, non-specific vibe that we accidentally mislabel. The very experience of processing ease directly creates a positive emotion. When your brain processes something smoothly, it essentially rewards you with a little hit of positivity. It quite literally feels good to look at clear, familiar, or easy-to-understand things. Which leaves us with this final, honestly profound question. Are we really making objective judgments, or just taking the path of least cognitive resistance? Think back to that brand or object you thought you loved at the start of this explainer. Do you truly appreciate its deep, objective qualities? Or has it just been presented to you so frequently, so clearly, and so easily that your brain is just kicking back and enjoying the cognitive rest? It's a fascinating look into how mechanism drives mystery, and it's definitely something to keep in mind the next time you insist you know exactly why you like what you like.